on 26th, followed by an all-you-can-eat local buffet and a cooking competition on 27th. Don't miss out on aerobics, hiking, and a fun-filled pool party on 28th. And on New Year's Eve, get ready for a breathtaking fireworks show and start 2025 with a bang, dancing to the Kwanpa Live Band. Packages are as follows. Individuals, 3,000 Ghana cedis for 2 nights and 3,750 Ghana cedis for 3 nights. Couples, 4,300 Ghana cedis for 2 nights and 5,400 Ghana cedis for 3 nights. Families, 6,850 Ghana cedis for 2 nights and 9,000 Ghana cedis for 3 nights. Call or WhatsApp 0541 539 867 to book now. Volta Serene Hotel, your perfect Christmas getaway.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to Ghana Connect. It's the aftermath of the 2024 general election and overwhelming victory for the NDC. It was a decisive win, resounding triumph, sweeping success, a runaway win, crushing victory, commanding lead, dominant performance, clear majority, massive win, a blowout, a triumph, a rout, a wipeout, or a conquest. You can describe it in any synonym that you so wish, and you will get it right. It was an emphatic victory for the NDC and a trouncing defeat for the governing New Patriotic Party, which have failed to break the 8 as it envisaged on the 2024 campaign trail. The NDC is currently hovering around 186 MPs in Parliament. It's never been seen since the 1990s. And in the modern Ghanaian parliamentary practice, no political party has had such a clear majority. With the numbers standing currently in Parliament, some have said the NDC will particularly not need the NPP or any other person to get government business through. The side have been able to garner two-thirds, of 276. And that means NDC MPs by themselves can override a presidential veto, they can impeach a president, they can censure a minister, and they can also amend non-entrenched constitutional provisions. That is the emphatic nature of the victory Ghanaians gave the National Democratic Congress. But what exactly caused this cataclysmic defeat for the NPP? And will the NPP be able to claw back? And in 2028, as the Vice President has already been speaking, be able to have a showing and get to the NDC. John Dramani Mahama, who lost the 2016 election by close to 1 million votes, a little over 900,000, climbed up in the 2020 election and lost with a little over 500,000. He has now overturned this deficit and has given Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia a 1.7 million gap, nearly. And there are those who said that upon a total collation of all the results, the NDC will just have a few thousand of votes away from 1.7 million. So how did we get here? And can the NDC in particular actually deliver on this overwhelming mandate that the Ghanaian people have given them? We connect on these matters right after this break.
The other day, I visited Kwaku at his spunky new office to congratulate him on opening his business. And man, was I impressed. The business is just moving quick. The sales, customers, everything is just working seamlessly. The secret? He said,
It's MTN Business Broadband. In this fast-paced environment, we need fast and reliable internet to support all business types. No laggy online meetings, great download and upload speeds, impeccable business management systems, all inclusive. I mean, you can have it all.
"Shout!" I signed on immediately.
To enable your business stay ahead and stay connected, make sure you're signed on to the best internet made just for businesses. MTN Business Broadband. Sign up today on broadband.mtn.com.gh and manage your account on my MTN app. Call 0244 308 111 for more information. We are good together everywhere you go.
Hooray! The Kingdom Books and Stationery Limited is organizing its end-of-year furniture promotional sales from the 15th of November to the 31st of December this year. Kingdom Books and Stationery is giving away a whopping 10 to 15% discount on all furniture at our furniture shops. Head office, Akweje, Osu near the Osu Cemetery, Tema, Comte 4, Takrady, opposite Fijai Maze Plaza, Cape Coast, University Bookshop, Spintex Road near Absa Bank, Atomic, Centerpoint Mall, Winneba, University Campus, KNUSD, the University Bookshop, Santasi in Kumasi. You can also visit and shop online at www.kingdomstoreonline.com. Hurry while stock lasts. For further inquiries, contact us on 050-162-0810 or 0302-764101 or email us at info@kingdomgh.com. Kingdom Books and Stationery Limited, where quality and affordability is assured. Terms and conditions apply.
Dear Chatwo, a son say a busuan yes from Quintino. You can say ye pepsodent a ye ding was so a canyamane home.
Hey, wohu, we could hear wo, no he wole, was shre, nana no ne, whatever.
Hey, Ampo, Omudinda so, Ingamenae, and Hefana, you see, dear.
One so bet to me to ding out to President Busia Park no so. But we bush who buy more who do, for we need to rest to a bear will not come to President Busia Park. FDA, check the inquire to Yatumu.
Welcome back to Ghana Connect, and tonight on the show we are discussing that emphatic triumph of the National Democratic Congress and that very terrible defeat of the governing New Patriotic Party. We are asking how the NPP lost that election by nearly 1.7 million votes and how they lost their majority in parliament. They had 137, just like the NDC, but had an independent MP caucusing with them. Up to 40 of their colleagues have so far lost their seats and counting. There are so many of them currently actively battling for their lives and their seats at the Tesano Police Training Institute, where some recollation and collation are underway. And what went right for the NDC? What bit of it had to do with the economy and all the issues that have come up so far? It's been a resounding victory for the NDC, and they've been taking in that victory and saying a lot. But on the show tonight, we dissect what exactly might have gone wrong for the NPP during this election and how exactly they can come back if they can't stage a comeback at all.
Mr. John Dramani Mahama of the NDC obtained 6,328,397. Being in the light of the above, ladies and gentlemen, I have the singular honor as the returning officer of the 2024 presidential election to declare His Excellency John Dramani Mahama as the winner of the 2024 presidential election and the president-elect of the Republic of Ghana with a total percentage of 56.55%.
outcome can only be the doing of the Lord. I'd like to thank the Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Baumia, for his statesmanship in conceding the election long before the declaration of the results by the Electoral Commission. The journey is not going to be easy, my brothers and sisters, because the outgoing government has plunged our dear nation into an abyss. However, we are determined to work together with you to build the Ghana we want, and I am certain that we shall win the battle.
Hungry man say fix the country, belleful say fix yourself.
Country hot, hot. Country hot, Charlie. Plenty no get what to eat. Even picking they feel the heat. So we all they pray for change. We say fix the country.
They say fix yourself.
Aye, aye, aye. Fix the country.
We say fix yourself.
No. Hey, tell me who be the country. Tell me you be the country.
Fix yourself.
We are not going to the IMF. Whatever we do, we are not. The consequences are there. We are a proud nation. We have the resources. We have the capacity.
Whatever they want to do, we will pass it at the right time. They can't do anything. We are in government. If they claim it will make us unpopular, why wouldn't they stop? Okay. Well, they know this is going to transform and change the lives of Ghanaians. They know this is going to reverse the consequences of the COVID. They know this is going to put our fiscal space in the right perspective. And they are afraid that Ghanaians will continue to build their goodwill and confidence in this government. So please, we need a e-levy.
We are by this medium communicating our strong desire that the President change the Minister of Finance and the Minister of State in the Finance Ministry without further delay in order to restore hope.
Is the story of the 2024 election. It's a big story that I could tell with sounds from way back. There are those who've said that the refusal of the president to dismiss his cousin, Ken Ofori-Atta, who then was finance minister, between 2017 and early 2024, contributed to the defeat of the NPP. And so let me introduce to you my guests who are connecting with me on this very important matter. It's a conversation I've been longing to have on the show to try and get an understanding of how things have gone so far. Nana Kofi is a pastor and a blogger. Such a delight to always listen to him. He's connecting with us on Zoom. Nana, it's good to have you connect with us. Nana, if you can unmute.
Okay.
Great. Yeah, Nana, I can hear you, but I think we have a challenge with the connection. If you can position yourself very well, I'll come back to you pretty shortly. Ivan Che Innocent is also a youth activist and connect with us on this matter. Ivan, it's good to have you connect with us.
Hey, Kwaku, you're welcome.
Nana Kakari is a US-based Ghanaian journalist. Nana, We've been talking prior to the election on this show, and the aftermath is here. It's good to have you connect with us.
Same here, Kwaku. Thanks.
Edward is a Ghanaian, also living in the United Kingdom. He actually came down to vote, and I understand has since returned to the United Kingdom. Ivan, it's good to have you connect with us. Edward.
Thank you for having me, Kwaku. I'm pleased to be here.
Great. And then Edward Adai Opon is a political enthusiast, graduated with a political science from the KNUST. Edward, it's good to have you.
Opon. Well, it's Edwin. Sorry.
Edwin Opon.
Yes, Edwin.
Great. Edwin Opon. Thank you for that. And for those of you who are listening and you are itching to share your message and your text and what you make of the outcome of that election, please do send us a message 055-1111-997, 055-1111-997. Please send me a WhatsApp message and I will be glad to read as many of them as will come through. So let me start with you, Nana Kofi-Akwa, if your connection is now stable. Did the results that we've seen and which is still unraveling itself before our very eyes, did it shock you when you saw the margin of defeat for the NPP? Hello, Nana Kofi-Akwa. I think I still have a challenge with Nana Kofi-Akwa's connection. We'll fix that and pretty shortly we'll put him on. So let me talk to you, Nana Kakari. In the prelude to this election, you did indicate that you didn't think the government had performed so well. And the government did go into this election and lost massively. What have been your own reading of how things have gone so far?
Yes, you're right, Kwaku. I did not think the NPP administration was going to win. Look, the warnings were on the wall and it was very hard to ignore. Let's date back from the former finance minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, the corruption that brewed from that time, from their administration, coming to I forgot the lady, money was found in her room. I think mates found the money stored. Exactly. And then the imaginary cathedral that was never built and was claimed that there were millions, if not billions of dollars that were pumped in. How can you drive around Accra or any part of the regions and ignore all this, knowing that it was largely part of the administration's fault for Ghanaians to be where they are right now? And then also, look no further, the illegal mining, where we did not hear much from the administration. Ghanaians wanted to hear. We wanted to hear at least some words of encouragement saying that our environments are going to be okay and something will be done. However, it was crickets from the Jubilee House. And then to top it off, the arrogance of the leadership, the members of the party from parliament, fighting over seats. I mean, come on, fighting over where to sit, where minority, majority will sit. And you have an MPP leader eavesdropping on reporters' live shot and jumping on reporters, fighting them about who the minority leader is and the majority leader is, when he is supposed to actually use that time and that energy to urge Ghanaians or tell Ghanaians what his administration will be doing come the next 4 or 8 years. So there were a lot of things that I think that Ghanaians just couldn't ignore. For me, I knew change has come. I knew Ghanaians were going to vote for change. However, I was wavering on who can bring that change that Ghana needs to move the country forward. And I think Ghanaians have spoken. We have to respect that. They voted for reset. They voted for Dr. Mahama. And we all have to come back together right now and help support him. Take the country where we want the country to be.
You did not come down to vote, right?
No, because you know what? I think I was undecided. I personally do not think any of the parties, the major parties, I should say, the NDC or MPP, couldn't convince me. I mean, we have Mahama. I would say Mahama actually, I think people gave him the chance because he talked about the economy. I mean, we are all having the economic hardship, right? Whereas you have the MPP candidates, Dr. Baumia, talking about digitalization. I mean, at this time in our country, who want to go in and get advanced digitalization when they are unemployment, when there are people hungry
I like that you are getting into some of the reasons we'll come to pretty shortly in terms of whether the messaging of the various political parties were or not. I like where you've taken it, and I'll come to that pretty shortly. Ivan, were you taken aback by the outcome that we've currently seen and currently dealing with?
Kwaku, I think it wasn't surprising because prior to the elections, and if you looked at the dynamics and the concerns being expressed by Ghanaians prior to the election, definitely this was expected. So I wasn't surprised because if you look at the last 8 years, what Ghanaians have to grapple with under Akufo-Addo's government, first one has to do with this arrogance of power, the impunity, and the fact that these people appear to have lost touch with reality. The economic realities underpinning Ghanaians, the economic daily realities that Ghanaians were going through. The government didn't care much about it. So you saw this opulence and this kind of attitude of indifference on the part of those in power. At the point, Ghanaians were asking government to cut down expenditure. That was the time president was flying expensive private jet around the globe with his people all around. So I think arrogance and impunity, one way or the other, contributed excessively to the outcome. That is why the election outcome was very decisive and very resounding. And I must say, it wasn't just about the NDC. You see, Ghanaians have unanimously come to understand politics, that when they give power to you, irrespective of where you're coming from, your political affiliation, alliances, or whatever, all that you need to do is to do the right thing. If you fail to do that, Ghanaians have sent a strong message to all politicians out there that they have the power to punish whoever that is in power. And I think that is exactly what happened. On the other side has to do with issues of economy. As we speak, I've been telling people there is nothing like economy, because if you look at the current economic circumstances of this country, the rate of borrowing and the fact that our state, most of the state things that we created were being used as mortgage for funds. And if you look at the current state, how things have been mismanaged to the extent that today our debt to GDP is over the bar. The debt portfolio of this country, we have suspended our debt obligation to our external creditors. And even internally, we have done this restructuring. And people who government owns, they are not going to pay them. And several issues of relating to economy that we have to deal with. If you mirror in the banking sector cleanup, that what happened, the banks needed just 9 billion for restructuring. But at the end of the day, we ended up spending over 25 billion. And everything after Kwaku, the banks are still struggling. Most of them are not even in good standing.
Okay, so Ivan, great. Just like Nana Gakari, we'll come back into the specifics. And I think the economy is a big thing. In the lead up to the election, I think 2 or 3 weeks to 2024 election, 7th December, John Mahama did say that it is the election, it is the economy, stupid. Of course, not to say that somebody was stupid or a political speech from the US. And that was just giving prominence about how important this election was in terms of the economic aspect of it. Nana Kofi Akwa is back with us on the phone. Nana Kofi, a lot has been said, but the NPP's post-mortem so far, Dr. Baumi has said that, listen, they didn't lose the election. They just gave it out to the NDC in terms of their base sitting it out. From where you sit, what went wrong so bad for the NPP that from a party that won 900,000 plus in 2016 to 500,000 plus in 2020 is now dealing with a deficit of 1.6 million, almost 1.7 million?
More than just.
Hello, Nana. Can you hear me? Nana Kofi Akwa, can you hear me? Well, I still seem to have a challenge hearing Nana Kofi Akwa. We'll try and fix that line because I'm itching to hear from Nana Kofi Akwa what his views are on this outcome. But Edward, you left the United Kingdom to come and vote in Ghana and then went back. Was this an outcome you thought was plausible?
Yes, I would say so. Largely, the MPP government actually lost the election in June of 2024 because you see, in our local parlance, we say that opportunity tifi na nkwalare nanka ye ka nanka refo a panyini ka ho. Why am I saying this? Everything that was on the economy, people lost their investment. When we're growing up, we're told that investing in government securities was the best, safest option ever. A lot of our parents put in their money in government bonds and things, and we all saw what happened to the point that they had to picket at the finance ministry under the scorching sun, and people were not actually giving them any regard at all. For me, that was where they lost the election. Also, you don't pass an e-levy on premise that was going to be a game changer, then you end up still going to IMF when you said once you get the e-levy, you don't need the IMF. You do that and you still cut cake in celebration. We saw videos all over. So what were you trying to tell us? What we want to do is what we will do. So for me, that was when they lost the election. And really, it's about the economy. Today, tomorrow, the day after, next year, next 4 years, whatever it is, it's still going to be about the economy. If you don't fix it, you get the boot. And one of the things that's actually quite fascinating for me is the fact that the Ghanaian electorate, right, are gradually becoming so sophisticated. Once they determine that this is what they want to do, they go according to plan. But there were lots of monies that were shared. I mean, where I was voting, there were people in the queue trying to talk people to vote for the MPP, and they were willing to give monies to them and all of that. People took the monies, they still voted against them. So that tells you that the masses are in trouble, and you cannot. How much is too much money? I mean, how much can you give everybody to satisfy them? You cannot. So do the basic things for us. Ghanaians are looking for good roads, good water, electricity, all of that. That's all we are looking for. Not all of us are dreaming of owning V8 and things like that. You can do them, that's fine, but don't spite it. Don't use it to spite us in our faces. Like that kind of arrogance behavior, honestly, was the reason they lost the election. And come 2024, they will lose again because currently, what has actually made me excited about the change is that we are going to hear the real state of affairs in our country. We are going to get to know how much rot is in the system, how much money has actually been embezzled, those that can be accounted for, and all of that. So it will give us a better picture of everything that happened. And a lot of the decisions in 2028 will be based on how transparent the incoming government will be to the Ghanaian electorate.
Edwin, let me hear from you. Hello, Edwin.
Yeah, I'm here. Okay. Well, if you're asking for my opinion, then I would say the reason why the MPP, or should I say the reason why we lost the election, because I'm an MPP, the reason why we lost the elections was because of two things, I would say. One was, you see, people were disappointed in us. Yes, I would say, like a lot of Ghanaians were disappointed in us, as in the way they thought things would go, didn't go as planned. And secondly, the conflicts that were in the party, the intra conflicts that happened in the party. You see, prior to the elections, we had the presidential and the primaries. You see, with the presidential. You see, after we nominated, or after we gave Bawumia the heads up that he should, lead the party, it came to a time that we realized some of the party leaders like Alan, Ken, most of them were having problems. And you see, these people are prominent people in the party, has helped the party, not now. And should Okaso what I tell you, definitely, it will be taking a lot of people outside the party too. And it doesn't necessarily mean that when they left the party. They took people outside. Yet they couldn't maybe pull numbers or something. No, but people like most of the Asante regions, like the most people that are here, what they go with is, if like the other guy said, "Mema power." Let's say, "Oh, the issue power, no, you know, at my face, like you can do whatever you want with it, and I can't do anything to stop you or whatever." Definitely, people are going to, you know, have their mind reset and, you know, mafia. As we saw the elections, how it went and everything, it's just that aside the disappointment and aside the conflict and everything, the MPP people didn't also go vote. Yes, you could see the margins as they came. You see, we're having about like 6 million or so voters, and only 4 million came out, you know, to vote. And you can see
but Edwin, you're not entitled to 6 million votes. You had 6 million in 2016. Is it necessarily a fact that if those 2 million people turned up still, they were going to vote for the MPP? You don't know if they are members, they are floating voters,
with the disappointment from the ordinary Ghanaian and from the MPP. You see, that's what I'm trying to drive at. We were disappointed as an MPP, that conflict that went on. Me, with the primaries, I have my reasons. I was disappointed in the MPP concerning the primaries because a lot went on, fine. And coming to this election, no, definitely you wouldn't want me to still throw my support behind the NPP if no. The thing is, we all were like, okay, they have really shown us how they are, but this is election, so let's all try to, you know, come together and see if we could break it. So we all, you know, we joined hands. But the thing is, people are disappointed. People in the party are fed up. We are disappointed. The ordinary Ghanaian is disappointed. So Kwaku, definitely, senior, definitely, this is what has to happen.
That kind of thing played a part for you, Edwin. Ivan, I want to know what you think of this position. Is it really accurate in your view, in your estimation, that this election was an MPP loss, not necessarily an MPP win? Because people have sought to make the distinction. Listen, John Mohammed's improvement from the 6 million he got in 2020 is a little over 200,000. And then you see the MPP that got 6 million, almost 7 million in 2020, dropping down to a little over 4 million. Is it true in your analysis that a lot more MPP persons sat this out, or it is just not backed by the data?
I think that would be a narrow scope for us to exploit because, like you rightly pointed out, no party is entitled to any number. If you are going for an election, you are starting from a zero note. So that is why you see this active campaigning. You are supposed to give the people a reason to come to the polling station and vote. So the fact that the numbers were a bit different from what we witnessed in 2020 doesn't necessarily mean that the MPP people decided not to vote. Like you said, it might happen, they did that for several other reasons. But the fact is that the Ghanaians who showed up at the polling stations to vote definitely did not vote for the MPP for several reasons. Because like we rightly indicated, issues of political corruption were rampant to the extent that everybody could hear it on a daily basis. And you see, gone were the days when the average and ordinary Ghanaian appeared to be a bit uneducated about issues of politics. Today, the platforms are quite diverse. These innovative platforms, Facebook, social media platforms are quite diverse. And there are a lot of education going on there. I've been saying that nobody consumes information and sits idle. Whenever you consume information, you tend to act on it. And once you saw those exposures running around on various platforms, it got to a point Ghanaians became fed up. And some decided not to vote though, but those who showed up decided to punish the government for breaking the trust Ghanaians reposed in them, especially at the point when the government appeared to be so insensitive to the plight of the average and the ordinary Ghanaian. I've listened to the conversation from all the panels on this particular show, and there is one thing that is rhyming across: arrogance, impunity, total disregard, and vulgar arrogance on the part of those in power. So you, as a government, you may not put up to be the best government ever, but sometimes you also have to manage your relationship with the people. That is why I've always been advocating that whenever you're in power, the relationship that might exist between you and the people must be that of mutual respect and intellectual kinship. No pity, absolutely nothing. All that you need to do is to use the power to do the right thing. But over the years, what we witness, issues of corruption may pop up. The president have the overwhelming power to set up a team, at least to do a preliminary stage of investigation to establish merit or otherwise in any of these issues of corruption. You see that attitude of indifference on his part. And at the end of the day, he happens to be the person who comes out and clear these individuals. So at the end of the day, the institutions like the special prosecutor, which he promised the people was going to set up as an avenue to tackle issues of corruption, the persons he appointed at the end of the day were sitting on the nails with the president. They were sitting on tenterhooks. We all saw the explosive exposure from the former special prosecutor, Martin Amidu, and then the new one who recently came, the ordeals that they had to grapple with. So definitely it painted a picture to the average and ordinary Ghanaian that the Akufo-Addo government that promised the people that he was going to fight corruption has demonstrated once again in his second term that he is not. And rather, he is rather providing incentives and motivation for people to engage in this massive act of pilfering that we all saw in the last 8 years. So for me, I think MPP didn't lose the election, but Ghanaians have become a bit more enlightened, especially if you look at the vote from the Ashanti region and you look at the number of CDNDC won. I think it gives a very picture-skewed description that Ghanaians at this point in time have come to understand politics, that going forward, certain conventional rules have been established that if you're given power and you mess up, they will deal with you. And I think it's a lesson to John Mahama and the NDC that going forward, it is no more business as usual. Ghanaians are very vigilant in their watching. So whatever that you do, you must make sure you don't veer off. But as soon as the government goes rogue, definitely you will be dealt with. So I think these are some of the things that we need to look at. And at the end of the day, set the stage for the next phase of our politicking in this country. Because if you look at the mess our democracy has been exposed to, the danger, it got to a point the very foundations of our democracy were being subjected to mortal assault.
Ivan, I like that point that you make, and that's why I want to bring in Nana Kufiakwa, who has joined us again. We'll try again to see if his networks works a bit better now. Nana Kufiakwa, if you can hear me, I want to know what you made of this very huge defeat. And there's a lot of reasons that have gone around the table. Some have said, well, the MPP lost this, the NDC did not really appreciate in terms of their votes. Do you think lessons have been learned, particularly from the fold of the MPP, and whether or not this particular defeat signals something for the entire political class?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Fantastic. I just want to say that this election, I'm hearing a lot of people say the NPP people didn't go and vote. That's why. Actually, there are a lot of NPP hardcore party members who went to vote against the NPP. It's important to also remember that. I know a number. I covered the elections at a number of polling stations. Listen, there was a time in this country where, the NPP members are very proud people. You know, they will show you the traditional NPP member is proud to be NPP, and they will show and say it everywhere. A time came in this country where when you were in a room and you asked who is an NPP member, nobody wanted to raise their hand. You know, things got so bad, people who voted for Akufo-Addo regretted. I had a friend post on Facebook that he went to correct the mistake he made in 2020. That's how bad it got. You know, so not only has the party been damaged, it will take a long time to recover from the shame that people, good-hearted Ghanaians, hard-working Ghanaians, the hope and confidence they put in Akufo-Addo and his team ended up being earning them slaps. You know, they were humiliated for their confidence. They were taken for fools. Listen, I'm not even talking about the nation. I'm just talking about party members. Conscientious Ghanaians who are members of the NPP party, who can see with their own two eyes and can think for themselves and have some level of personal integrity, became ashamed ashamed for being members of the party. That is what they tried to correct with this election. So it wasn't just about party members not voting. I am saying I personally have interviewed and know a lot of NPP members who went to vote against the party. And you can't paint a starker picture than that.
Nana Kakari, what do you think these defeats for the NPP signals to the entire political class? Because, I mean, I've heard from around the table, Nana Kofi Akua has laid that point well in concluding that the Ghanaian people are sending a message that bad performance will not be rewarded. Is that a message that you think, with John Mahama now assembling his cabinet, perhaps thinking of names, must really keep at the back of his mind, that if he does not deliver on the mandate that the Ghanaians gave him, he perhaps will lose the NDC will perhaps lose in a similar fashion in 2028?
Yes, and you know what? It shows that the political landscape has changed. You can no more buy voters with a bag of rice or a bottle of oil. There's a new generation right now, and this new generation have easy access to information, to videos, that they can make, informed decision about what to do, when to do it. And that demonstrated in the parliamentary election. Now voters want to see, show me what you can do before you tell me what you can do. Whereas before in the past, it's, I can do this. And then when they come in power, it's disappointment, right? And I'm saying it's reflected in the parliamentary election because you can see from, I think, Ayawaso West, where John Domelo, who has done a lot for the community, won. You can also see it from, I think, somewhere in Asante Achim or Hini Frimpong, also won. That guy has also done a lot. And you can see, when I say done a lot, visibly, where you can see what they've done for the community. You can then also see from just Accra, Baba Sadiq, what they have done. So things have changed. That old school political game where in days leading up to the election, you have people pounding fufu, people carrying water, people giving out rice, and even to the Ayawaso West Wagon Lydia Hassan distributing lunch boxes while voters were in line getting ready to cast their ballot. This all shows that the average Ghanaian is well informed, well educated, and you just cannot buy their integrity with that strategy as to temporary satisfaction, long-term suffering. That's not going to work anymore.
Edward, I mean, from where you sat, you don't live here usually. You live in the UK. You came down to vote, and then you've gone back. Do you get the same sense that a Ghanaian voter has, quote unquote, matured, and I don't use this in a derogatory sense, from typical party-lined voters to a place where they really look at the issues? They go back to what Kufuor said in 2008, or before that,
Yes, largely, I think that the voter has become very sophisticated. From my initial point, and again, I agree with the points my sister just made. You'll notice that now it's show working, bro. It's no more about talking. Go to Takwa Israel constituency. The deputy minister for mines and natural resources. He spoke a lot. He did a lot of things. I mean, a lot of talking, sweet talking and all that. We saw what happened, right? They voted him out. And I'm sure he's so surprised because Galamsey was just at his background, right? He knew everything that was happening. He knew the people involved in the act. I'm saying this because back in the day when I used to work in Ghana, I used to have a customer who used to buy fuel from my company then. So I used to go to that area. Most of the guys, they do Galamsey. So that guy, Mrekuduka, could not and cannot stand anywhere to say he didn't know who the Galamsey people were. But he kept quiet. See what happened? He lost. All right, he lost. Let's take it. I mean, look at the entire A+. Go to Gomorrah Central. I'm Fanti, so I kind of play around that area. The woman who used to be MP on a ticket of NPP at the time, she's just a lame duck woman. Doesn't even contribute to argument in parliament, nothing. The people saw it. They saw what A+ did for them. Even in opposition, they voted for him. Let's go to Adenta. Posie, whoever they call her. kept quiet all this while, didn't do anything in Adenta. When she became the candidate for Adenta, she now started constructing roads. Like, can you insult us like that? You've sat in government for 8 years. If you had plans, you could have done it long ago. You did it. A few months to election, you want to construct roads and you think we'll vote for you. They didn't vote for her. So you see, the trends are following. You see that those who are actually working were rewarded with another term. But those who are pretending to be working, Oslausu Ablekuma, West, she was even hooted at for trying to give food to people. Guys, our monies are locked as a result of DDEP. And that is somebody's carelessness and I would say some very irresponsible financial decisions, right? So if you've tucked my money away from me all this while, some people have to die. Consider Kama Conference Center, Dr. Michael Jakumado, such an entrepreneur. He died. Obviously, I can attribute that to his the lack of opportunity for him to get his funding, monies that he's invested. So you can tell that there were so many stories that were flying in the air where people were seeing, consuming, and they were being told. Because of that, the voter decided that no, I'm not going to take one bowl of kinky and fish today and be hungry for the rest of the years. NAPCO people that you hired, you didn't pay them their stipends. Meanwhile, even when what I find more insulting, reason why I feel that people even voted against the government was when government was telling us that COVID had come, so all of us should tighten our belts, we should sacrifice. What I expected was the government was also going to cut down his number of appointees, cut down his size of government, so that we can see visibly that you are demonstrating that leadership. But no, more appointments were made, but you and I were made to pay COVID levy. Even after COVID has come and gone, we're still paying the levy today. You still cut cake on top of it. The motorways still don't have street lights. 8 years this government has been in office. There's not a single street light on the motorway.
Well, as for the street light issue there, it's so big. It transcends, both political parties. And for me, it signals the paralysis with leadership in the country where street lights are just not working. Of course, recently there was an expose about people who have spent millions of dollars to fix the street light and they haven't fixed it. But that's a matter for another day. And now, Kofi, which part of the blame do you think the NPP in particular will give to Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo? There are those who said that he played such a big role in the result that the NPP has had going there. In the sound we played at the start of the show, you had NPP MPs, close to 100 of them, asking him to sack Ken Ofori-Atta. He didn't up until early this year, February 2024, before he relieved him of his duty as finance minister, as well as some decisions he took. Do you think that the president and some of the decisions and the conduct really cost the NPP bigly, or people are just scapegoating the president? Hello, Nana Kofi. Then Edwin, if you can take this for me, which part of the blame do you think the president? Yeah, Ivan. Okay.
Yes, Kwaku. I think President Akufo-Addo can be blamed for everything that happened, because this is a man who virtually elevated himself to a sort of Nebuchadnezzar status within the NPP. Everything goes around him, and if you look at the way and manner he managed, at some point in time, certain folks within the NPP realize that this is our party, this is our government. Certain things are not going right. So, Mr. President, your cousin, Ken Ofori-Atta, who happens to be the finance minister, considering that wrong trajectory, the bad economic fortune this country is on, the trust in our economy has waned considerably. So we are asking you, at least let him leave, and so that another person can take over as a sign of that will bring some kind of relief or some kind of hope into the whole government architecture. The president, as an individual, resisted and stood against that particular call from party members. So at the end of the day, if anything goes wrong at the end of it, the president is solely responsible for whatever happened. And then again, we all saw these attacks on institutions in this country. And at some point in time, one thing that became quite clear, Ghanaians were standing afar. We've all folded our arms, watching government from a distance as if we weren't part of what was going on, because we saw this attack on state institutions, sensitive ones, and we also saw some appointment that president was consistently putting up some individuals who were known party people into sensitive institutions that were not meant for partisan business. So at the end of the day, whatever being the outcome of such institution definitely will be on the president. The other side has to do with the fact that the president virtually decided to sit idle and watch everything as it unfolds. It's the reason why I've been saying that President Akufo-Addo was not running government, rather he was running a Ponzi scheme. And this is what happened. Things like NAPCO, for instance, he was supposed to provide sustainable job opportunities for young people who just embrace some of these opportunities and say, hey, there is a future for me, I can plan my life. But he brought in as a stopgap measure. People will go in and graduate. When you graduate, what are you going to do? At the end of the day, even that stopgap opportunity, we could not guarantee it.
Okay, Ivan, please hold it there for me. Let's do some messages. A lot of you are sending us your messages about what you think of the outcome of the election and what you think it portends for the Ghanaian political system. Michael Papani-Ashale is joining me in studio with a lot of your messages that are coming on from our WhatsApp console. Michael, what are people talking about?
Well, Bismarck, let me take you to... I know you don't like the name Bismarck, but Kwaku Asante. Let's start from Tamaniu. This one is from Nick Kojo, and he says, the election results are a true reflection of the people's mandate. Work with the citizenry, he says. And then let's go to Alex, and he says, I think the election outcome is just a protest vote of arrogance and impunity, and pray the incoming government learns something out of this. That's more here. Alfred says, Alfred from Awoshi, he says, President Akufo-Addo has collapsed the NPP party cry. Well, I'm not sure that some people will agree with you on this. Could you also have some?
Yes, this one from Freeman listening to us from Kaswa says, the NDC should not create any jobs in their books. We want to see the real jobs and sustainable ones as such. I don't understand what this means, but thank you for your message, Freeman.
I'm pretty sure she's trying to say that we don't need 4 years down the line tell us that there's a difference between what jobs are and what employment is also is.
We'll see about that. This one is from Patrick Asante Asokore. Says, please, let's limit the talk and rally around Mr. Mahama for a better life. Let's prevent them from starting on the wrong notes. I'm surprised, especially with the gargantuan margin, which is unprecedented. I think the vigilance and patriotism of the NDC party faithfuls did a trick for the massive victory. Again, this should be a lesson for politicians. Ghanaian voters should no longer be taken for granted. The economy also needs fixing now. This is also from Stephen, listening to us from Akachi in the Volta region.
Eunice from East Legon says, multiple touch points broke the MPP. Arrogance was a key factor. The only thing people have is their vote. If you say their vote doesn't intimidate you, then you are totally lost as an electoral elected party.
I think he's referring to that interview with Otek FM in Kumasi where the president says, listen,
I mean, also you've seen the protests that happened and people say fix the country, and then it's a similar protest or counter protest that say fix yourself instead. Well, final one here, this is from Nana connecting from Spinches. He says, guys, you know what? Apart from Ghanaians paying for fuel to carry the president's chair around Ghana, the rudeness of the MPP, Afenyo came together with some other people throwing their weight about against the LGBTQ bill, the judiciary favoring anything put in front of them by MPP, the loudness of the so-called free education, which is so messy. Citizens were ready to show them down. After all, they inherited the IMF and they are leaving us with the IMF. The corruption was also way too much.
Thank you very much, Michael. Let me do this last two before we get back to our panel. Kushito from Tema, he says, the NPP party simply practiced olden days politics, giving money, fixing roads at the last minute and got us 1 month to election, not knowing Ghanaians have moved on from such backward politics. Ghanaians have woken up. Politicians should stand well. Thank you, Kushito, listening from Tema. And interesting, in Tema West, Tema Central, Tema East, the NDC swept those constituencies. Those used to be a no-brainer for the NDC, really, in terms of those grounds. And the last one says, Ghanaians were subjected to 8 years of abuse, and then the message is truncated.
Just to get more, possibly, because we didn't get that one. This one from Gurungu in the Upper West region. And Haruna Truma is the one texting, as he says, about the incumbent government loss this is largely due to his failure to listen to or pretend to listen to the people of Ghana on the issues of economy and the environment. And to bracket Galamsey, I think it's a lesson to every political party, especially the NDC, that Ghanaians normally give them the mandate, so they should always listen and accept failures when they fail and apologize.
Thank you very much, Michael Papani. And those are some of your messages coming in thick and fast. Nana Kakari, let me come back to you as we prepare to wrap up with just about 6 minutes to go. What message do you have for the incoming president, John Dramani Mahama, on the 7th of January, or return? He was the 4th president of the 4th Republic, returning as the 6th president, just like Trump, returning to the presidency. But what message really do you have for him? Of all the big promises he made, which ones do you think he should be focusing on? Oral, Operation Recover All Loot, 24-hour economy, all these things he's talked about. Which one do you think, if he focuses on and delivers the Ghanaian mandate, would have been properly worked on?
You know, I think that it's clear that Ghanaians want to change. And as part of the change, I think the first few minutes of when he stepped in the Jubilee House, which is, I think, January 7th, he needs to clean house. And when I say clean house from the very top person who is the soon to be former president to the last person at the Jubilee House. In fact, even the mosquito that flies across the Jubilee House should be investigated. He should launch a bipartisan body, or that will be able to launch investigation into all the corruption or all the members of the MPP. I don't care who it is. For every single member of the MPP needs to be investigated, because it doesn't take one person to destroy Ghana as it has been destroyed. The other thing, one message, if I've told NDC Mahama, if he doesn't fulfill the many promises that he said on the campaign trail, he will be voted out. And that we've already demonstrated how we voters got Bawumia out. And then also to the MPP. I know that Bauma said we gave the election win or the vote to the NDC. Doc, you did not give any vote to the NDC. You lost by a landslide, right? And also saying that we won the fight, but we didn't. We lost the fight, but we did not win. Lose the battle. I don't know why or where that analogy is coming from. You lost by a landslide in the presidential election. You lost by a landslide in the parliamentary election. Dude, you lost. So it's time to stop being delusional and start rethinking. I guess right now, the MPP needs a reset. Listen to your party members, because you have people like Alan Chermatin step out. That was telling. You have people like Kennedy Ejapon also saying that Ghana needed a change. Do you think that Ghanaians will not listen to them? Because they gave us a glimpse of what was really transpiring in the MPP administration. And then finally, to the president, whatever his name is, Nana Akufo-Addo, arrogant.
Nana Kakari, that is the president of Ghana. Okay, so the president of Ghana, Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo, that's his name. The
power of the voter. By saying that, you know what, if you vote for me, it's your thumb, vote for whatever. And Ghanaians showed him, if we vote whatever. He also went to a community saying that he wouldn't have stepped in the community because that community did not vote for him. And finally, his attitude towards community leaders, having the audacity to order a chief get up because he thought he was walking on water. It didn't work like that. You need these community leaders to who their residents listen to in your corner to be able to win. So finally, I would say it's time for all of us to come together. Mahama should create a bipartisan cabinet, regardless of the party affiliation. And I think by doing so, Ghana is going to move forward and be at the place that it needs to be. Ghanaians deserve better.
Ivan, 1 minute, what you think the big agenda should be for the incoming president, John Dramani Mahama?
Kwaku, what I would say is it's not business as usual. The NDC has been in power before, but this time around, everything is going to be different because at this point, the average Ghanaian is very intelligent and very focused, watching everything from a very widened perspective, not a narrow perspective. So I'm expecting that the new administration will institute criminal inquisition into all issues of corruption. All issues of corruption must be investigated because that is one of the reasons Ghanaians voted for this change. There are people who were not NDC but decided to get people out so that we can investigate the criminal dealings that they did. And again, I think some of our state institutions have lost credibility because of some unreasonable appointment the president made. Individuals with known party ties were appointed into the Electoral Commission and the Supreme Court. As we speak, the Supreme Court has lost credibility. Some of the individuals there, we know where they are coming from and stuff. I think we need to start cleaning these institutions up so that we can engender trust and confidence once again, so that our institutions will have that kind of flair to ride.
Edwin.
And then President Akufo-Addo, I think he will go down as the worst president ever in the history of this country, and he's forever going to walk in the hall of shame forever because we told him, he decided never to listen, and this is the outcome.
Okay, Edwin, let me give you that word on that. Edwin, what do you think? What do you think the message to the president should be, the incoming president?
Right.
Yeah, Edwin, let me hear from you very briefly. Then I can give Edward the last word, and then we can wrap up. Hello, Edwin.
Okay. Well, in my opinion, what I would like to put across is, you see, when we are, contesting at, elections, it has to be different. And when you emerge the winner, what you have to do as, the president or the person who emerge as a victor. What I want the person to do is, you think about the people that voted for you, and you think about the nation you are about to rule as a country, like as one. There's one Ghana. So if now Mahama is being elected, he has to think about Ghana as a one Ghana, not an NDC Ghana. When he thinks about it as an NDC Ghana, that is when I know definitely corruption and everything will be continuing. Yeah. But when he thinks that as it as a Ghana, not an NDC, definitely I know, yes, things will be changing, everything will be good.
A Ghana for all. I like the point that you make. So, Edward, let me give you the last 30 seconds. Let me know what you think the message should be for the incoming president and incoming NDC government.
Can you hear me, Kwaku?
Loud and clear.
Right. So I feel that there are many quick fixes he can do. First of all, the corruption. I mean, all these loans that the government took, and I'm told some people will benefit from it, it has to be looked into. The true state of the economy has to be told to Ghanaians. So we know exactly where we are, so that when we are making demands, we are considering it. But most importantly, the economy has to be fixed because it's broken beyond repair. So I think that it needs full attention on that. Accountability must also be sort of orchestrated. Bipartisan approach, I don't think that's going to be possible, but I feel that there should be accountability for everybody's stewardship. That way, the Ghanaian people will trust that the government is trying to live up to expectations, and then we'll give him all the support. But if he decides to not tell us the truth, not completely transparent, that's when he'll begin to have problems. You should remember that when you point one finger at your father's house, 4 are pointing at you. So if he doesn't do what's right, 4 years is not too far away. The same thing will be meted up to him and his party as well. So accountability is very important. Tackle the economy, quick wins, e-levy out, betting tax out, and they will begin to face off again.
Great. I think that the proverb you wanted to do was that in Akan they say, "Ori of Fonsa and Oshonsa." So as you look at such a massive gap with which you won in 2024, you get to know that the same fate can befall you if you don't deliver on your mandate. And I think it's a perfect proverb that John Dramani Mahama should be listening to. Because in 2016, he lost with nearly 1 million votes. And so the NPP, if the NPP listened to that particular proverb and said, "Oh, of one and what also there," if they knew that they could also lose by 1 million votes and above, perhaps they would have done a few things differently. But, I mean, these are all post-fact issues that we are discussing. So I get that the Ghanaian political class will have to listen to this themselves and make of it what they want. Thank you very much, all of you, for listening to us. Nana Kofiakwa, pastor and a blogger, Ivan Che Innocent, Nana Kakari, Edward, Deborah, and then Edwin Adai upon. Thank you all for connecting with us on Ghana Connect. My name is Kwaku Asante. We'll be back same time next week for another exciting edition of the show. Andy Dusty is up next with the library. I hope all of you have a great weekend.